Terry, welcome to Shape Your Pottery and share with me what is something that has helped you the most along your pottery journey so far.
Oh my goodness. One thing. I'm still kind of brand new in my whole journey, but I would say that the one thing that I attribute to having some sort of success is not letting anything deter me from doing my work. So at the beginning, I had nothing. And that didn't deter me. I had this tiny little mud room of a space. And I was like, I can make that work. I'm going to put my wheel in this tiny little corner and I'm going to put little shelves over here and I'll put my stuff over here. And I just made it work. I didn't have a kiln at the beginning and I shuttled my pieces to a clay store that offered firings. And I still sold those pieces. So I think not starting, you know, only when I felt like I had everything I needed, everything was perfect and just seemed right. I just started because I wanted to start. I wanted to get going. That's kind of how it's been. It's like the growth of like my studio and everything looking wonderful and legit and looking like a legit potter is still like mega in its process. And I'm not letting that hold me back. So I think that's a big thing that has helped me is just keep going, put my head down and just keep on doing what I love. And I'm going to add another one is just having a super positive support system. I think when we start out, we're really insecure. I mean, not even when we start out. I think as artists, we're just always insecure and second guessing ourselves. But having a good support system around us, both on my like social media and my immediate family and friends, have all been super, super supportive. And that has truly helped me keep going.
Absolutely love that. Shaping Nation, the most important thing, even if you don't have the resources, just get started. You can still make pottery even if you don't have the resources. I love that so much. So, tell me the story how you got started making pottery.
We'll be here for 30 minutes, but I'll try to make it quick. When I was 21, I think I had kids starting young. My daughter was just under 2, I believe, and I wanted to go to school. I didn't go to school right after high school. I didn't go to college, and I needed something for me. I was like, you know what, my brain is dead. So I went to school, the local college there, and took night classes. My husband was taking like 25 credits during every day, and I needed to squeeze in some night classes. And one of the things offered was ceramics, and I was like, that sounds like super fun. I'm super artsy fartsy, and I've never tried ceramics, so I will take that. It also sounds like an easy A, right? So I took that and just fell in love. I instantly loved it, and I think I kind of took to it easier than other people around me. But yeah, I really loved it. And then, after that 2 month class or whatever it was, I didn't touch pottery for 8 years. I had 2 more kids and, stay at home mom life. And then when my youngest was 2, I was like, I need to do something for me. My husband's gone through grad school. I feel like I've kind of taken a back seat with what I want to do with my life. And so when my youngest was 2, I said it was time. And I was kind of playing with ideas like what I could do to make money and that I would also love. I'm really picky with like having like a desk job or like working for someone else. I was like, I can't do that. So I was thinking of ideas what I could do to start my own business. And so one of the things was like, you know what, I really liked that pottery class. So why don't I try that again? And so I took a pottery class again at my local community college. I'm in Washington, so I was near Seattle at the time, Shoreline Community College. And yeah, I ended up taking ceramics too, since I already took ceramics 8 years prior, but I was absolutely starting from the beginning. I didn't remember anything, but I was the only one in the ceramics too. There was like 20 in ceramics one. So it just combined me. So I was really on my own, which was awesome because I'm kind of a loner with this. I like to put my headphones on. I like to get in the groove and do my own thing. I learn the best when I'm just kind of listening to myself and my body. And yeah, so I took 2 community college classes back to back. So probably like 4 months total, 4 or 5 months. And I absolutely loved it. And I went into it knowing that I wanted to make this a business. So I think that a lot of people are like, oh, did you lose the passion you had for it when it was just like a hobby or whatever? I was like, well, it actually was never a hobby. it was something that I was like, I want to make this a business. I want to do this. I want to do something that I knew that in the past, and I only did it for a little bit. I loved it, and I want to nurture this and like grow it. And so I never like lost the love of something that I was like just played around with. But yeah, so that's kind of how I started. I took this class and I overused the class, and I ended up having to. I kind of got kicked out in a way. They're like, you know what, you're overusing the studio. You fill up our kiln way too fast, and there's other students that need it. So I was like, this is my sign. I need to go and start my own thing. So that's how it kind of started.
I love that so much. So, we're going to talk more about the business side of pottery later, but for now, you mentioned that you have a few kids. How do you balance between, being a parent, wife, and also pottery?
Oh, I don't think that there is such thing as a balance. I mean, maybe someone has found the secret and they need to tell me what it is, but it is such a juggling act. I have 3 kids, the oldest being 13 and the youngest being 7, and they're all in extracurricular. And my husband, he works in Seattle, which is across the ferry. He only gets home late at night, so I am the parent. If there's anything that happens at school, a kid needs to get picked up because they're vomiting, or like sports, going to practices, like mama is on it. So it is the amount of work I do that is like such a challenge for me to be able to get all the work that I have to do, all these orders and yada, yada, yada. And I want to get them done in a specific amount of time is super difficult for me. And I have to like be super open. I think this is what helps the balance is I'm super open on Instagram with my customers and my followers that I am a mom, and that is, item number 1. And then my business is super important too, but I got to make sure like my kids are like set first. And they know that things happen, and a lot of people that follow me and purchase from me are also parents. And so I think they value me being open and transparent about life situations, and so that adds a little less stress to my workload, knowing that people are like, you know what, when I get my piece, I get my piece. You need to make sure that everyone is taken care of. So I have to remind myself, like, people are actually quite kind and understanding and patient. Like, if they're buying handmade pottery, they know how long it takes, and I'm super open about that too. And they just want their piece when they get their piece, which I'm super grateful for. So yeah, I don't know about balance. I kind of go crazy sometimes. So I'm not a good example of being mentally stable as a mom and a full-time potter, but I'm trying my best.
Absolutely love it. So, you contribute your growth as an artist to making mistakes and learning from them. Can you tell me more about this?
Yeah, I think as human beings, that's how we get through in life, right? We make mistakes and we learn from them. So my pottery business is no exception. If anyone has tried pottery, you know that it is super hard at the beginning. So I mean, mistake, mistake, mistake. You want to cry. You're like, I'm never going to be good at this. I'm never going to figure this out. I think having the mentality going into it, knowing that these mistakes are going to come, they're going to come frequent at first for a couple of years, probably, or at least they did for me. Obviously, at the beginning, there's simple mistakes like you got a flopped piece, you can't center, you can't do this, you didn't attach that handle correctly and it cracked, or whatever. These simple little mistakes that can add up and get really frustrating. But then later with business, like website issues or taking on orders in the wrong way or whatever, and then you get a little overwhelmed and you make kind of bigger mistakes that cause a lot of stress. Yeah, you just know that they're gonna come, and you look at it as a learning experience and you go, all right, well, that didn't work. So, which is good because now I know that that didn't work and I'm going to try this. So, yeah, I think just accepting that there are going to be mistakes and acknowledging that those mistakes are going to be your friend because you're going to learn from them, and that's how your business will grow. So, just go into it with kind of a positive mindset and go with the flow. So,
Would you say that these mistakes throughout your pottery journey have helped your pottery and also your business?
mistakes,
Yes.
just like what I said, like you're going to learn from your mistakes. If you're paying attention and you realize that you've done something wrong, you're going to do it differently. And so your business is going to naturally shift in the way that you want it to, just by learning from all these sorts of things that are coming at you, curveballs all over the place. I can't, I can't think of any mistake that I'm like, oh my gosh, that has ruined me. I'm never going to get over that mistake. They've all ended up leading to something that was better. So as long as like I don't get a mistake and I'm like, well, that's it. I'm done with pottery. I'm done with this business. As long as I take it and I use that as fuel to learn something else, to try something new, then they always help. They always help. I want to make less mistakes in the future. It's not like I love mistakes. These are wonderful. Oh, they're so stressful. But getting through that, pushing through that stress is inevitably going to make you a stronger and a better and more efficient and more confident business owner.
Absolutely agree. I love that. Shaping Nation, there are going to be mistakes, plenty of mistakes along your pottery journey, and that's okay. Just learn from them and keep growing. I love that. So
Yes.
let's talk about your pottery. Can you tell me a story how you started making the pottery that you make today?
Yeah, I make a lot of different things, but story of how I started creating what I make today. I my whole business is on Instagram. Everything I do is advertised, or like everyone sees my behind the scenes. I'm kind of getting the creative process going on Instagram, but like on my stories. And I really value my customer base, or my fan following, or whatever you want to call it. And I love bringing them into the creative process. So I take a lot of clues, or a lot of polls, or a lot of suggestions that I gather from my people to know what I should be creating, what's going to be the most valuable for the people that I'm making my work for, and staying true to like what I want to make. But it's funny because I started off thinking at the beginning that I was not going to be the potter that made mugs. Like, I'm not making mugs. Everyone does mugs. That is so oversaturated, and I want to be different. And then I quickly realized everyone wants mugs. And I quickly realized that I love making mugs. So I couldn't get away from it. And it's done me really well. So I don't want to get away from it. And it's my favorite thing to create now. But it was just so funny because I was like, I'm gonna do something no one else has done before. Whatever. I'm gonna be super creative, and then I'm making mugs. But mugs are, for me, my happy place. And they're a happy place for so many people. You don't find too many people that don't wouldn't love to get a handmade mug from someone as a gift, or whatever.
I definitely agree with you on because I actually really like enjoying making mugs myself. And I know a lot of people don't like it, but I enjoy it myself as well.
How do you like making a mug? They're so fun.
Yeah, I agree. Like from the start, I pretty much like. I mean, when I couldn't make a handle for a while, it was a little bit frustrating. But like after
Yeah,
I got that down, I was like, yes, I love this.
I know the freaking handle, right? Once you got that down, it's like smooth sailing.
Yes, I absolutely agree. So the pottery you make is rather simple in design. What made you go down this route for your pottery instead of going something else?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever thought about it in depth. I think it was naturally my style, what I gravitate towards. I've always thought simple is best. And also, like, when I'm making it with the idea of selling, I liked the idea of being able to produce a lot and making it more affordable for the customer in a way. There's a lot of mugs out there that are super beautiful and super detailed, and then they go for, several $100s, and only so many people can afford that, which is totally great for the people selling them and the people that can afford them, or the people that save up for them. I think that's amazing. But for the way I wanted to sell my pieces and market myself was a little bit more affordable. And I really like the process of making so much that I'm like, if I'm spending so much time on this one piece, that's taking away time that I could be spending it on like all these other pieces that I want to make. So being able to kind of get through work quickly is just the way that I like to 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 work and to enjoy my work and to value going into work every day and be like, oh my gosh, I still got to work on that mug. I've been working on it for 3 days. Like I want to constantly be moving and growing and be able to have a customer base that feels like they can buy from me. So
Absolutely loved, and I definitely agree. Sometimes you got to keep it simple to keep growing. I love that.
mm,
So something that I love you do is that with your pottery is you add little alterations, like altering the handle a little bit. Can you tell me a little bit more about this?
just like your last question and me saying like I really like to do new things and get through things so that I can try something new. I get really my personality, I guess I get really antsy and I want to try something new. And as we know as potters, there are infinite ways to do anything. Like you can make an infinite amount of pieces, functional or non-functional, infinite ways of designing and all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to limit myself to one handle design or anything like that. So anytime something comes into my mind, I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to try a handle like that. So yeah, and I love to make different shapes according to like everyone has a different hand, right? Some people have larger hands, some people have smaller hands, some people like that 2 finger hold, some people want their entire hand to be able to fit in it this way or this way. So I like to make a variety of styles so that I'm not limiting myself to just one customer type. So I get a lot of people who are like, I want, those huge handles. I got a huge hand. I want a huge handle. So I'm like, I'll make a mug like that, a mug option like that. And then people want a 12 ounce with a tiny little handle. So I'm like, I'll make that too. So I want to be able to reach a wide audience with all these certain different designs and styles and shapes and sizes.
Absolutely love that. What are some ways that you like to add some alteration, add a little bit of flair to your own pottery? How you like make different handles? What are some ways you like to alter?
I just like to play around with it in the moment. I don't even go into it thinking ahead. I usually am just like in the moment, whatever feels right. So like with pulling handles, I could be pulling a handle and then the naturally it like looks a certain way and I'm like that's different than I usually do, but I actually kind of like that. Let's play with that. So just being in the moment. I'm not the potter that sketches out my work. I'm really bad at that. I really like to do things in the moment because things with clay, they form differently every time and you can see something new every time. And you can just like pause. You could make a mistake, right? I could pull it and like it chopped off and I'm like, oh, ooh, I kind of like that short little thing right there. I'm going to wrap that down and try that. So being open to, speaking of mistakes, making mistakes while you're creating because those mistakes could lead to something you're like, I was not thinking about that. But now that I see it, I really like it. And I'm going to try something funky with it. So, yeah. And like, whenever you think of something, sometimes I'll think of a design before I start just in my head. I'm like, that's going to be so ugly. I don't even know why I'm even trying. And then you try and you're like, whoa, actually, this looks really dope. And I'm going to like move forward with it. And then sometimes you think something's going to look dope and amazing. And then you try and you're like, no, it's not working. It's not working. So don't ever just cheat yourself or short yourself and think that something's not going to look good. Just try it all. And you never know.
Some excellent advice right there. I love it. So let's talk about the business side of pottery. Can you tell me the moment when you decided to go full time with your pottery?
It wasn't a moment. It was more of like I don't even know really when it happened. I can't give you like a day, but I was very fortunate with the fact that my husband had a job. I'm married, and my husband had a job that could pay the bills, albeit barely. He was just out of grad school and was doing a postdoc. And oh, if anyone's ever done a postdoc, like it's like residency for doctors, and you get paid shit. But he was able to like cover the bills, and that's about it. And so I didn't feel pressure, super pressure, like I have got to provide for my family. Like they're waiting for my paycheck in order to pay this bill. So I think I was able to go into it kind of chill and not feel like I needed to rush anything. But I got asked by a friend of my sister if I could do a bulk set of mugs or tumblers. I had never done anything bulk. I was never like making things that looked identical really. And she asked for 150. And I told myself, like, I was not allowed to say no to these opportunities just because I was afraid or I was nervous that I wasn't going to succeed. So I was like, absolutely, I can do that for sure. And then, I hang up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can do this. I don't know what I just did, but you know what? I'm going to do it because I said yes. And I'm going to look real stupid now if I can't do it. So I think that moment I would say maybe that's the moment that I was like, I'm going to have to be full time right now because I have 150 tumblers to create before 2-month time frame, and I'm going to be in the studio for a long time. So it's mostly like, okay, family, I know usually I'm able to come out of my studio and hang out with you guys, but right now just don't mess with me. Because I told this person I was going to get them tumblers, and I got to get them tumblers. And so I ended up just like forcing myself to be full time at that time. But I wasn't making money like full time. I barely charged them anything. This is my first time, and so I was like too scared that they were going to be crap pieces. And we all know that we charge less, we feel a little bit better if they're not so good. And so, yeah, I think that was kind of the kickoff to like, Mama's going to be spending a lot of time in the studio. And then after that opportunity, I had more wholesale things come my way. Ballerina Farm was a huge one, 200 to 300 mugs a month. Again, I was like, I don't know if I can do this, but I said yes immediately. So I was like, who says no to such an opportunity? These are probably going to be not the best, but I'm going to try my freaking hardest to make them the best mugs that I can do. And it was a hit. And these wholesale companies really made me go full time. And yeah, I guess eventually I realized that I was like, I'm a full time potter. It felt really good to say, but it took me a while to realize I was full time potting as a business, just because I didn't think about it until people were like, "Are you a full time potter?" I'm like, "I guess. Like I'm in there all the time, so I guess I'm a full time potter." But yeah.
Do you still do wholesale now?
I've told everyone. I made an announcement the end of last year that I was going to take a break from wholesale. Wholesale was how I really got started, things got like took off. At the very beginning, I did like little shop updates and just like pieces that I created that I wanted to create and then hoped that people would like, and then I put up on an Etsy shop. But that I hated that. I hated it so much because I'm also brand new, so I don't have as much exposure. But those pieces, I would be like, shop update, come come buy my stuff. And then you'd have a chunk that would go, which was great, but then you'd have a chunk that would stay. And I'd be like, I don't know what to do with this stuff. Like, do I keep being like, oh, reminder, there's stuff on my shop, go check it out? And that killed me. Every single time I had to like kind of remind people like, hey, this lady's still up there. You want her? Someone take her, please. It made me super uncomfortable. And so I navigated away from doing shop updates because I would just end up taking stuff down and just giving it away. Just someone take it. So the second that wholesale popped up, I was like, this is magic because I only had to deal with one person and she's taking all my stuff and I get paid up front. And then eventually I navigated to pre-orders, which was super successful. I'm so grateful that I transitioned to doing pre-orders because again, that takes away that lingering product in my shop. I no longer have lingering product. I take what I get, orders come in, and then I shut it down. And no lingering product. I just make what people bought. But yeah, so I did. So that ended up taking so much of my time, the pre-orders last year, having to navigate or having to tackle both wholesale and pre-orders. I was working 2 times the amount of time that I should have been working. It was very, very stressful, exhausting. I felt like I was running every day. So I told everyone wholesale has got to take a back seat for this next year. I make a lot less doing wholesale. Wholesale when you're hand making work, when you're doing handmade, it's not like you're still putting in the same amount of time and then charging like half the price, right? So I decided to take a little bit of a break, but I have a lot of wholesale clients that really value working with me, and I value working with them. So I'm going to try to hop back on the wholesale train just just a little bit next year.
So let's go a little bit deeper into pre-orders. What do you think makes a good pre-order sale?
What makes a good pre-order sale? Oh, that's a loaded question. So when I started doing pre-orders, it was just one style of mug, and I saw another potter do it because I was instantly like, "Oh, what's a pre-order? And what is she doing? And why is she doing that? And how did she do it?" And everything just looked. It sounded immediately like I want to do this because I don't want this lingering product thing anymore. And I also have like kind of an ADD kind of mentality going into the studio, and I'm like, oh, what do I make today? What do I want to do? There's so many things I can do. What do I want to start with? And then I end up getting no work done because I don't know where to start. And so with pre-orders, it's just laid out for me. I know what I need to do. I know how many pieces I need to make. I know what to glaze them. I know, you know, all the things. I just know. So I'm able to just get to work. And that's really, really beneficial for the way that my brain works. Now, as far as like how to make a successful pre order, I mean, to each their own. But for me, I like to, like I said, I like to really involve my customer base in the creation process so that they feel like they're a part of the whole process. They're a part of these pieces being made. They had input, and I think when they have input and they see that I'm actually using their input, because I do lots of polls of like, would you like this glaze with this glaze, or do you like this body shape or this handle shape with this mug? And they're part of the whole process, which is super fun for me and super fun for them. And I think it allows them to feel like they contributed to it, and so they're more inclined to be like, I want to buy that mug because like she's doing what I suggested. And I'm very open with the making process, like behind the scenes stuff. They get to see everything being made, and so they get to also purchase a piece that they saw being made. And so yeah, I do that for weeks. I create a line with my customers, and people are like, I want a butter dish. Can you please do a butter dish? And so I'll do a butter dish. Do you like this kind of butter dish or this kind of butter dish? Do you like it in this glaze or this glaze? And so I can create a line as many pieces as I can do within the time frame that I'm willing to take a break from making money. And then when it's all said and done, I promote all the pieces I'm going to be offering in that sale. And again, this is all on social media. I don't do anything elsewhere. Social media, Instagram has been such a blessing in that regard. I hate it otherwise. Like anything else, social media, I'm like, oh, this is such a curse to humanity. But for small businesses, it's amazing. And yeah, I'll promote what I'm going to be offering for like weeks, and then set a date and say, hey, be here, be square. This is the time of my sale. If you want something, make sure you're on time because things go quickly, and they've always been on time. The second 10 a.m., I set that live, and it's just like, they're all there. They're all there. They listen very well. So I think being very communicative prior to the sale, not only advertising what you're going to be creating, being open about all the details of your sale, what time it's going to happen, what's going to be offered, how to navigate your website. Sometimes websites can be a little harder to navigate. And so like I'll do a whole screen recording of like how to navigate the sale just to make sure that everyone knows what's going on. Yeah, and I ask questions or I have them ask questions, and I share them on my story so that they can one question can answer it for all the people that are probably thinking that question too. So I try to cover all my bases, and so far the pre-orders have been super successful, and they help me really get work done. Because if you take on a pre-order and you take in lots of people's money and they're expecting pieces, you will get work done. You will be like, okay, it's time to get shit done. I need to put my head down. I have a list of what I need to do. All I got to do is make it. And let's hope that I don't have a series of cracked handles or anything like that that postpones the delivery date of their piece. But it's a great way to be motivated and getting work done.
Love that. That was some excellent advice right there for anyone that wants to start doing pre-order. I love that. So let's talk about discovering your voice. Can you tell me about the moment when you knew you were heading the right direction with your pottery?
Yeah, I think it was a natural progression of, like I said, when I started taking on those tumblers and I'm promoting on Instagram and people are like, "I love that. Oh my gosh, you should do more of those." And then I started doing mugs for Ballerina Farm, and I was very fortunate that Hannah from Ballerina Farm was like, "You just do whatever you want." She was super not picky, had zero input of what she wanted. She just wanted mugs. And so that gave me the freedom of creating exactly what I wanted. And she was going to take them. She was going to take them. And so I never felt like I needed to create a certain look because other people wanted it. Like I cannot make something that I don't like and then sell it. So I think I was very fortunate that I was able to do what I wanted to do from the very beginning. And then that got me a lot of exposure doing these wholesales, especially for Ballerina Farm. I definitely attribute my beginning success to being lucky enough that she found me and asked for these mugs every month. But yeah, they instantly, people loved it. They encouraged me. And then I was like, I'm always going to do what I want to do and not put what my designs on the back seat because other people are expecting something else. Hopefully that's what you mean by finding your voice.
Yes,
Or you
absolutely. I love that. I love that. Shaping Nation, the most important thing is to make what you want first because what you want to make matters the most. I love that. So, you have been making pottery for 5 years. Would you have done anything different during those 5 years?
Oh no. No. I almost wish that I had started sooner. I probably would have worked out a little bit more and eaten healthier and all that kind of stuff, taking care of my mental health because that took a little bit of a back seat while I was trying to really grow this business. I've been, neck deep in getting this business underway, but other than that, I've absolutely loved every second of it. The fact that it is such a stressful thing as an artist and creating your own business, but the fact that I continue to do it means that I really really love it. I'm the type of person that if it's not worth it, it's not happening. Like I quit things easily if I'm not super passionate about it. And there have been so many stresses with this job, and then I just like don't care. I just want to keep going. I want to keep going. And that has proven to me that this is the thing that I'm supposed to be doing.
Absolutely love that. Terry, it has been great chatting with you today. And as we're coming to a close here, what is one thing you want to hammer home with my listeners today?
Well, if your listeners are all potters, I'm assuming they are, I would say, like, just have fun. I think go into it having fun and don't feel like you have to have everything perfect before you start. Be true to what you want to create, be true to your own design. Find who you are. You can emulate and imitate other people's work, and then as soon as you want to create your own business, feel comfortable creating from what you've learned your own style and run with it and enjoy the process. It's a crazy process. There's ups and downs. You take with pottery 2 steps forward, 1 step back all the time, sometimes 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But know that if you continue practicing and continue on this journey, you will get better. You will learn to overcome these obstacles and be more confident in what you're doing.
That was some excellent parting words of advice. Terry, it has been so great chatting with you today. Where can my listeners go and learn more about you?
Like I said, I'm only on Instagram. I have a website, but it is only to host my sales. So that my website is used for a hot 10 minutes, and and then I'm back on Instagram. So Pots by Teri is my handle. You can come and see what I'm up to. Do lots of behind the scenes stories. Come and join.